it can be even harder to face that task when you don't know who you are as an individual to begin with. Hi, my name is Jenny Stepanyuk. I'm an Innisdale Integrated Arts student in the class of 2021, and my showcase piece is called Not Another Identity Crisis. My work is themed around my identity crisis and my struggles with my perception of self, as well as my journey in figuring out who I am as a person. I wanted to be able to use this project as a tool to help myself face my issues around my perception of myself, and as well as dealing with the fact that I don't have to have everything figured out. My work consists of 3 paintings with 3 digital portraits projected onto them. Each of these 3 portraits encompass different aspects of myself and my personality and my perception of self. The first projected portrait I created is a face made up of different and mismatched features that purposefully look as though they don't belong. It serves to demonstrate how throughout my childhood I always lacked self-confidence in myself, my identity, and nearly every aspect of myself. So I would attempt to copy traits from other people and pretend to be someone that I'm not, and that left me with a bit of a fragmented perception of my personality, because I felt like I have all these pieces that I cling on to that I thought were true to me, but in reality they're just made up and copied from somebody else, or something that I thought would make others like me more. The second projected portrait is one of a mask of myself drawn as a ventriloquist doll. The metaphor that we don a mask and conceal our true identities from the outside world is cheesy and as old as time itself, but to me it's a little bit different. The mask is bright and fake looking, and it's a representation of my identity and what I put out to the world and who I think I am, but it's just as much of a lie to other people as it is to myself. I feel that who I perceive myself to be doesn't feel real or genuine, hence the fake plastic looking mask. And when the mask is wiped away, there is absolutely nothing, there's nothing to see behind it. Just a blank slate, kind of how I feel. The third and final portrait is another portrait of myself, but with my features floating around. It's made to look confusing and surreal, and it shows my uncertainty towards who I am and who I want to be, as well as my anxiety around defining myself and in time to feel comfortable and pick a path that would be successful and bring me happiness and success in the future. I kind of feel a little bit of anxiety about having everything done in time, so something as big as knowing who I am is definitely a big weight to carry before graduating high school and picking up university and picking a career. So this portrait kind of encompasses all of that unsure, anxious energy that I feel. The mediums that I chose themselves are a metaphor. 3 faceless paintings with blank slate are kind of there to show how I feel like my personality is just as empty as that blank slate. And the portraits are projections of what I show the outside world that eventually kind of fade away to reveal that there's nothing there, nothing left behind them, both physically and metaphorically. The paintings are all acrylic on 3-foot by 5.5-foot canvases that I stretched with the help of my dad. I started my work by taking a reference photo of myself and editing it and using that as a guide for everything else. It's all the same photo. The 3 digital portraits I all drew in Photoshop, and they all took me around 2 weeks to make each. And I also animated the middle portrait's transition in Adobe Animate. While putting this up, I actually had to change around how I thought I was going to present this showcase. I was originally going to have 3 portraits put separately on 3 different walls of this room, but given the fact that I'm stuck here at home doing this with COVID, and I was limited to my resources, there's a little titch in the plan. My teachers were kind enough to provide me with three projectors to use for my showcase. But there was an issue with 2 of the projectors, and they didn't quite have the settings that I needed to line them up completely with the paintings. So I had to scrap the idea of having them on 2 different sides and just put them on one wall. I really wanted them on 2 different sides because if you were, I understand nobody would be able to, but if you were to walk into this room and kind of look around, it would feel a lot more immersive. The imaginary viewer would almost be able to understand how I feel being surrounded by these 3 huge paintings that are moving, but putting them on this wall, I didn't really like it because it makes it feel a little bit like a movie screen, like you're sitting at a theater, and that kind of detaches you away from it. But I had to use the resources that I had, and this is what I came up with. This whole installation took me around 3 months to complete, and during those 3 months, my outlook on life and my perception of myself greatly improved. I no longer feel as anxious to figure out who I want to be, and I understand that life changes, you grow as a person, and that's completely fine, and nobody has to have anything figured out, and nobody usually does. And I feel much more confident and comfortable with myself, mostly thanks to using this showcase opportunity as a way to deal with those emotions.